While discussing the BVI Electricity Phase 5 Power Development Program, BVI EC officials Henry Cricky and Chaswell Varlak met some challenging questions about renewable energy on JTV's Spotlight. Nia Douglas has more.
Host Eduenka, after learning about the $48 million power upgrade that the BVI EC is currently working on, asked the BVI EC officials, should the BVI be spending millions of dollars on fossil fuels rather than renewable energy sources such as solar, wind, and hydropower? The BVI EC noted that although intuitively it appears that the use of renewable energy sources to power the BVI would be both environmentally and economically sustainable, the issue isn't so black and white.
So then the question is, if we are thinking about moving into renewable energy generation, why are we spending that $48 million on fossil fuel generators as opposed to alternative sources of energy right now?
Yeah, that's a great question, and we get it a lot.
Yeah.
So the thing is, if we try and integrate a high level of renewables in an unstable system now, it'll become even more unstable.
And what I mean in English,
more power outages. Because what happens is your primary renewable sources would be, for example, wind and solar. And so they depend on the weather. When the wind is going at a good speed, you get a certain amount of power. As soon as the wind dies down, the power output will die down. When that power output dies down, something has to be able to pick up that gap in capacity very quickly. If nothing is there to pick up that gap, then you have outages.
And while Eduenka noted that the use of renewable energy has been done in bigger countries relative to the BVI, according to Cricky, the BVI lacks the natural amenities, such as rivers and proximity to other countries, to pull it off on a larger scale.
There are some places that have 100% renewable energy sources, and Paraguay, for example, is one of them. Iceland is another one. Albania is another one. Of course, they have a combination of sources, and some of those sources are perhaps more effective and efficient than others.
So some of those sources, for example, Iceland, I think their primary source is geothermal power. They have heat from in the ground from volcanoes, and that can be used for what you call base load steady power generation. We don't have that kind of volcanic activity in the BVI. We don't have access to that. Islands like Montserrat, Dominica, they're exploring some geothermal power because they have that. Some places like Paraguay, they also have, they have big rivers. And these
so
rivers
they have hydroelectricity.
Right,
Yes.
so they can have hydro. And the other good thing about a place like Paraguay is they can interconnect to the countries next to them. So you can produce even more from renewable energy than you consume, and any excess you just sell to your neighbors. And then when, let's say, your water levels are low, you have had a drought, at those times you import. But as a net, you would be 100% renewable, maybe even 110%. But you are interconnected to somebody else, so that when that source is not there, you still can have power.
The BVI EC's Phase 5 development program saw the arrival of 3 new generators this month that are expected to increase the territory's power generation capacity by approximately 33%. Reporting for JTV News, I'm Nia Douglas.